It's the beginning of the week and this is your prime time news bulletin. A very good evening. I'm Shane Silva.
And I'm Arundhati Mudannayaka.
One passenger was killed when an airplane crashed in bed, were then split into two when landing on an island in Colombia.
We will be taking a closer look at this story later on in the news, but first it's a look at tonight's headlines.
Parliamentarians Vijitha Herath and Ajit Kumara enlarged on bail. UNP says it will not hesitate to reveal the government's double standards. Wildlife vets go on strike demanding proper measures to control human-elephant conflict. And officials confirm the death of a Tamil migrant aboard the MV Sunsi weeks before the ship reached Canada.
Now the stories in detail. 5 persons, including Democratic National Alliance parliamentarians Vijitha Herath and Ajit Kumara, who were arrested last week during a protest in Galle, were enlarged on bail today. Bail was granted when they were produced before the Galle Magistrates Court this morning.
12 persons, including the 2 parliamentarians, were arrested by the police during a protest held in Galle last Thursday, organised by a group including members of the Democratic National Alliance, calling for the release of MP Sarath Fonseca and to safeguard democracy. 5 of these suspects, including DNA MPs Vijitha Herath, Ajit Kumara and Provincial Councillor Nalin Hevage, were produced before the Galle magistrate this morning. They were charged with unlawful assembly, assault in the police and attempting to forcibly free a group of persons in police custody. Based on an order issued by Galle magistrate Thamara Thennakon, these 5 suspects were enlarged on surety bail of 200,000 rupees each. There is no investigation as yet into the police assaulting us. We hope to go before the Supreme Court and seek the best redress offered by the country's law. The remaining 7 suspects were produced before court this afternoon. Opposing bail, the police presented a B report claiming that the suspects damaged a police jeep. Accordingly, court ordered the suspects to be placed under remand custody until the 30th of this month. In addition, the police informed court that 6 persons, including MPs Vijitha Herath, Arjuna Rantunga, Ajit Kumara and Provincial Councillor Nalin Hevage, should also be included into the charge of attacking the police jeep. Notice was issued on them to appear before court on the 30th of this month. A circular has been sent to all police stations by the Inspector General of Police under the instructions of the Attorney General not to act under the Public Property Act if the damage is less than 100,000 rupees. But contrary to this, the police officers who sustained damage only amounting to 29,000 rupees have requested court to hold them under remand custody under the Public Property Act. The police reported facts to court today in violation of the circular issued by the IGP as per the instructions of the Attorney General.
On to another story making the headlines tonight. Now, the United National Party's media spokesperson, parliamentarian Gayantha Karunatilaka, says that the UNP will not hesitate to reveal to the country the government's double standard conduct. The parliamentarian made this observation while commenting on the measures taken by the police to disperse a protest carried out by the JVP recently.
We saw how the police allowed demonstrations to be carried out opposite the UN head office under the labels of patriotism and comic fast on to death campaigns. Karuna Amman, who was an armed leader of the LTTE, is not only a vice chairman of the SLFP, but is also a government minister with responsibilities. Sensitive leaders are sympathizing with individuals such as KP. Even a child can understand the manner in which a war hero like Sarath Fonseca is being treated. It is evident that the government is engaged in double standards. Therefore, the UNP will not hesitate to work democratically with all forces against such acts. At the media briefing, MP Gayantha Karunatilaka further said that although the UNP had expressed its stance on constitutional amendments, the government is yet to express theirs. Once the government is able to express its stance, then we can decide on our future course of action. Not only the UNP, but the entire country has doubts about the government's honesty. Therefore, we would like to request the government to reveal its stance on constitutional amendments.
Leader of the Democratic National Alliance and former Army Commander parliamentarian Sarath Fonseca was produced before the Colombo Chief Magistrate yet again today on a charge of allegedly harboring army deserters during the presidential election.
Former Army Commander parliamentarian Sarath Fonseca was brought to the Colombo Chief Magistrates Court amidst tight security. A large group, including members of Sarath Fonseca's family and parliamentarians Ravi Karunayaka and Arjuna Ranatunga, were also present in court. When the case was called up, the State Council informed court that charges will be filed against Fonseca's then election secretary, Captain Senaka Haripriya, in the High Court. Subsequently, court ordered parliamentarian Sarath Fonseca and Captain Senaka Haripriya to be produced before court once again on the 30th of August. The case, which was taken up today, has been postponed for the 30th of August. We hope that proceedings will be carried out soon.
The JVP states that the verdict issued by the first court-martial against parliamentarian Sarath Fonseca poses a challenge to the law of the land.
Releasing a communique, the JVP stated that the government, which failed to compile a complaint against Kumaran Padmanabhan, has taken expeditious measures to punish Sarath Fonseca, who led the country to its victory against terrorism. The JVP further stated that it is of great concern that the government is using the law to avenge political rivals at a time when many criminals and those linked to corruption in the country are still at large. Meanwhile, the Democratic National Alliance, in a release, stated that due to the court-martial being convened on 5 consecutive days during court vacation, the attorneys at law appearing on behalf of Sarath Fonseca did not receive an opportunity to represent their client. The release also said that while any citizen of the country is entitled to equal treatment before the law, Sarath Fonseca's rights had been violated. The release issued by the DNA added that such acts which are committed by the government in order to achieve their own political objectives are not beneficial to the country and its society on the long term.
A protest was held today against the death of an individual who was killed in a wild elephant attack in the Shravastipura area in Anuradhapura recently.
The protest was carried out this afternoon along the Anuradhapura-Kurunegala main road. According to our correspondent, vehicular traffic was hampered for several hours as a result of the protest.
Our correspondent said that the protesters dispersed after the police HQI and SSP of Anuradhapura arrived at the location and pledged to discuss the problem with the parties concerned tomorrow morning. Meanwhile, the Sri Lanka Wildlife Veterinarians Association has commenced a strike demanding that immediate action be taken to rectify the lackluster measures taken by authorities to control the spiraling human-elephant conflict. Members of the association say that they have decided to launch a strike for 5 days based on several demands.
The Sri Lankan Wildlife Veterinarian Unit is an integral part of the Wildlife Conservation Department. This unit is entrusted with the task of driving away wild elephants that pose a risk to certain areas into other locations. According to the Sri Lanka Wildlife Veterinarians Association, there are only 7 veterinarians attached to this unit to ensure that this task is duly fulfilled. We see many shortcomings in the operations carried out to drive away wild elephants. The administration at the department is very weak. We request that this be handled appropriately. Another accusation levelled is that there is a lack of resources and a shortage of officials. We will engage in a continuous strike for 5 days starting from today. The main aim of the strike is to express our displeasure over the inefficient decisions taken by the Wildlife Department with regard to the human-elephant conflict and to urge authorities to improve the quality of their decisions. We also request for the implementation of new methods to address these issues. We spoke to the Director General of Wildlife, Anand Vijaysurya, about the issue at hand. I was briefed about the problems faced by wildlife veterinarians 2 weeks ago. The Secretary forwarded a letter in this regard and I was informed to participate in a discussion on the 9th. On the 6th, they sent a letter stating that there is no need for discussions with the Director General and that they will hold discussions at ministerial level and reach a solution. That is what they informed us in writing. While officials and authorities are engaging in a tug of war, there is still no proper solution in sight for the human-elephant conflict. Incidentally, the elephant which claimed the lives of 2 individuals in the Veeraville area recently died the other day when attempts were being made to divert it to another location. Meanwhile, the individual who was injured in a wild elephant attack that occurred in the Danga Kadaval area in Thalava yesterday is receiving treatment at the Anuradhapura Teaching Hospital. Furthermore, this is a manner in which a house in the Digampatha area in Sigiriya was damaged by a wild elephant last night. Moreover, the funeral of the Samurdi official who died while receiving treatment at the Kurnagal Teaching Hospital after being attacked by a wild elephant in the Kumbukandalval area in Damulla was held today. It has been over 10 years since much of the farmland belonging to villagers in the Kobegane Divisional Secretariat first began being run over by wild elephants. Even though these elephants were driven off the Thabova and Vilpattu forest reserves from time to time, they ended up returning to their familiar grazing grounds. Area residents point out that the 1,000-acre Tilahara government livestock farm in Kobegane, which is located in close proximity to their farmland, is a primary reason for their unfortunate plight. The farm set up around 45 years ago had housed over 1,000 dairy cows in the past. However, this farm, which provided employment to many area residents, fell into a state of disuse around 20 years ago, creating the perfect haven for wild animals. Many dilapidated and abandoned buildings can also be found in the vicinity. While about 80 dairy cows are maintained here now, only a single officer, 2 security guards and several workers remain employed. Today, this farm has been overrun by wild elephants that roam around freely, destroying whatever that can be found in surrounding areas. We highlighted this problem as much as we could. We told the ministers and the district secretariats. Many came and looked, but nothing came out of it. The danger of this problem is further heightened when one looks at the lives that have been lost owing to this. This farm is absolutely useless. The elephants are being maintained by the Livestock Development Board. The vegetable patch we lived off was destroyed on the day before yesterday. Before that, they killed my elder brother. We can't bear this anymore. Please take care of this forest for us. The farmers are pledging for this farm to be put to better use, as they have been forced to give up their homes and move away because the elephants roam around the farm during the day and enter their villagers at night. The farmers point out that as a solution, this 1,000-acre land could be utilized for paddy farming under the Daduru Oil project. Shouldn't the Tilahara Livestock Farm of the Livestock Development Board, which is now merely restricted to its name, be used for a more useful purpose? And in the process, shouldn't the lives and property of area residents be rescued from the wild elephant menace? Minister of Livestock Development, this is over to you.